Today we're going to talk about multi-panel cartoons. Now, multi-panel cartoons is exactly what it sounds like. Several panels, several squares, several sections, okay? This way we get to tell the story, tell a little more of the story than just in the single panel cartoon that we've been doing so far. So on my paper, you can't see it now because it's light, but you'll see it in a minute. I have some panels marked out here. So I'm going to darken these in so that you can see them. And this is going to give us the page that we're going to be working on. Now, you could certainly do these as you go along so that you could control how big your panels are as needed, depending on what your story is going to be. Or you can do them ahead of time. I actually have a sketchbook that comes with the panels all drawn in. Now I'm doing these by hand. You can, if you have a T-square or if you have a setup like this, you could, do these lines using a straight edge. I kind of like the free feel, so I don't use that. I'm not going to bother with that. So we're finished drawing these in. So I've given myself a bunch of different shapes, different sizes, and we're going to use inanimate objects. Now, one thing I want to talk about here is on these panels, I have left some space in between each one. I think you can see it pretty good right now. So there's space in here and in here. So these panels don't run together. Now, if you were, depending on what you're working on, sometimes these panels can change shape. They can get bigger or smaller. They can certainly, you can have fun with them. If you read graphic novels and stuff like that, frequently they have them kind of run together. But I like the space in between because it keeps your drawings separated so that we're not confusing one drawing with another. Now, we're going to take our inanimate object, which in this case, I'm going to use a baseball. Now, some of you guys have seen me do this before because I use it as an example. We're going to be using some motion. We're going to be using some onomatopoeia, some sound effects, and all that kind of stuff. So we're starting off. I left myself a little panel up here. It can be a little header. It can be something that we're going to say. Like here, I can say, maybe this is in the middle of a storyline that's been taking place. So here we could have something like this is saying, meanwhile, I always do that. I love that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, or meanwhile, somewhere else, this is happening. So here is our happy little baseball. And he's just hopping along, whistling a song. So we have some notes coming out here. Now, ordinarily, I would probably draw this in pencil first. Rather than trying to just do this off the cuff here, but we'll have fun with it. Why not? So he's hopping along. I got a little bit of speed lines. I got a shadow here indicating that he's above the ground. And again, I'll show this all to you later as this progresses. So here he's hopping along. The only reason that I know he's a baseball is because of this little stitching that I put on here. We'll get to know more about him later. He's happy. He's going along. And then suddenly this happens. It changes to an oval. And put some lines like here, like he's kind of skidding to a stop. We could have his eyes really bugging out. Like, whoa, what's going on here? He's going to have a worried look on his face. We talked some about expressions in some of my other cartoons, but he's definitely screeching to a halt. And here's where we're going to use the onomatopoeia, which is sound effects. So we've got that going on. Screeching to a halt, he's stopping. It's like he's afraid of something. What would he be afraid of? Everybody knows the answer to that. I always get the kids that they shout it out, they know. It's a baseball bat. Now I'm going to have the expression on the baseball bat mean, because that gives us a better idea why this guy is scared. So there he is, he's looking. Now I could, at this point, just leave these panels like this, or I could put him in here for, give me some scale, and that means I can see the size difference between the two. Okay, so in this one, I think I'm going to throw a little bit of a horizon in here, because these are kind of close-up shots. That means we're closer to our subject. This, I'm going a little bit farther away, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of background. Okay, so now what happens? This guy, and we could have a thought bubble coming out, not with a word in it, but an exclamation mark. And there's all kinds of different ways to do this. And again, I'm doing this rather quickly, so I would probably do this in pencil first. He's thinking, exclamation mark. We could put a question mark there, but I'm pretty sure he knows what's going to happen. So now the next thing, this particular panel, I'm not even going to have any pictures at all. This is just going to be onomatopoeia. And for that, we want to fill this up nicely. And it could be whack, pow, bang, whatever. But we're going to do some of this here. Adds interest. And there we go. So now if we're doing this in color, you know, we can add some vibrant colors to this to really make it pop. All right, so now what's happened? We're pretty sure that that guy hit that guy. Now at this point, I want to add some perspective. We talked about perspective. Perspective is things coming towards you are bigger, things further away are smaller. Down here, I would draw the bat. And coming up here, and if you notice, our speed lines, there are movement, is getting bigger as it gets closer to us. And I'm going to have his eyes like that because I'm indicating that his eyes are closed. And let's have him kind of shrieking. And we could put some lines down here. We could have this kind of thunderclap kind of thing here. His eyes are on the bat are really small. And throw some clouds up here. He's now flying through the air. And he can be yelling. This could be hey, it could be yikes, it could be any sort of thing. And then what's going to happen next? Now, here's the thing. Move this tape off of here. Hold this up so you can see it. So here's what we have so far. Now, we could add color to this. We can add some detail to the background and all this kind of stuff. This last panel, that's for you to fill in. what's happening next, or any of this. Actually, you can change this whole thing. Maybe as you come along here, maybe they're friends. Maybe he's not freaked out or scared of the bat. Maybe there's a whole different onomatopoeia here. You can play with this and really change this around, make this your story. But in the end, what's going to happen? What I'd like to think of, for what I'm thinking, he would go crashing through a neighbor's window into a toy room, and then this would become this whole other storyline because he would meet maybe other baseballs that have ended up there. Maybe he would meet other toys, and then you could just carry on with this whole story. So have fun with multi-panel cartoons. These, as you draw these in, just have fun with the shapes. Don't worry about them being perfect, and explore the storyline. Have fun.